What is going on? I'm Cole, and I'm here to talk about my most anticipated comics for February 9th, 2022, and I'll get to those right after this. My most anticipated comics for February 9th, 2022. So, as anyone that follows this is going to be a part that you can probably skip behind because I do this in every single one of my videos, but I get all of my information from League of Comic Geeks. Once again, I might have some information scrolling over here to kind of show what the site looks like, how it's ran. It is a pretty good site. I really enjoy it, but it does have one issue. Sometimes, especially currently with the way that the comic industry is happening, there are sometimes delays, whether it be shipping. I know with the weather, the way that it has been, there is a chance for that to happen this week. And, you know, there are also going to be just paper delays. Sometimes certain books get delayed. I've had it where I take a book on this list. Last week, for example, I said Sabretooth. I thought it was going to be delayed, and ironically, it wasn't. I just saw somewhere that it was. So sometimes we'll have delays, and these books might not come out. So just remember as you're watching this, if I tell you a book's coming out, there is a chance that it could be pushed back to the next week or a few weeks later. Who really knows? But I like to get that out of the way. And if you are looking for a site to figure out what's coming out in the week, I recommend using that. There's also Key Collector app will tell you the keys that are coming out, but that's not going to give you every single book, which makes it a little bit harder to do something like this. Also, I'd just like to let you know that if you leave a comment in this video, you will be entered to win at least one issue a week. And if we get up to 15 comments, I will add in another random issue for my collection. Usually with the winner, I will ask them what kind of stuff they like and try and cater those extra issues to something that they might like from my collection. The one thing I do want to add, I've never really added rules to this, but I would like to say that if you're in the US, I will ship these to you for free. And if you are outside of the US, I would ask that I will pay up to, I think, like the first $15, and you would just cover that. I will be adding in some books, like last time I had Saga. So if you must be over the age of 18 so that I'm not sending something weird. And if you are not, if you could somehow get your parent to say that they are okay with me sending you these books, then I'll do that too. And yeah, that's just kind of it. Oh, and also be a subscriber. So yeah, I just like to be able to give some of these books that I talk about away. I've already grabbed one from last week that has been added into the collection, and we'll talk you know, at the end of the month for that. One of the things I added in the month of February to this video is I just said that I was going to add in some sort of either a spec call book or I was going to add a cover that I really like. And one of the things I kind of forgot about February is that there is a whole run of covers that I was planning on just buying the covers. So I'm going to be talking about these every single week from this point on. But let's get into the spec book. The spec book that I have for this week is actually only a cover buy. So it is Star Wars Darth Vader number 20. It is the first cover appearance, I think, of the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. I'm not sure if it's just them together or whatever. I'm not even sure if they're in comics. I don't read Star Wars stuff. This might be a terrible take, but it's the only thing that I saw that actually seemed like it held some ground of being something that some people might want. And the cover of the week that I'm going to go with is Earth's Mightiest Heroes number 53. This is the X-Gwen variant, and in this one she is dressed up as Kitty Pryde and she has Lockhead in the picture. I really like this one. There are 3 issues that I can tell that are coming out, and this one really took the cake for me. One of them is Cyclops, which I know is everyone's favorite X-Men, so sorry to all you X-Men fans out there that I did not talk about your favorite X-Men today. But I really like this. I'm really excited to get these covers. If you don't know already, my daughter's favorite is Spider-Gwen, and I'm probably paying way too much money on a bunch of variant covers just because she kind of gravitates towards one character. But if someday she gets into this hobby and I have all these and she really likes it, I think that would be something really cool and we could share together, which is something that I really enjoy. So I have noticed that I've kind of gotten into this thing where I try to pick new covers or new books that I talk about in each of these episodes. So unfortunately, there's 2 very good books here, but I've already talked about them both probably a month ago. So I'm just going to run them down and let you know. Hotel, issue number 3 comes out. I've been loving what John Lee does on horror. This will be an honorable mention. And the other one is Apache Delivery Service number 2. This is a Dark Horse book coming out from Matt Kent and Hillary and Tyler Jenkins. I really enjoyed that first issue, and I think if you hadn't read it, you could maybe find the first one and read this back, but those are 2 very good books that easily take the honorable mention for me. All right, and the first book I'm going to talk about is Batman Catwoman number 10. This is from writer Tom King. We have Clayman back on the art, which for me is very positive. I do really like Liam Sharp, but I think like the stylistic change between the two of them was very different. This is a DC Black Label book, and the reason that I'm talking about issue 10 is because that issue they had, the Christmas special, really got me back into this book. Tom King can do a beautiful story about love, like when he takes just love and grit. That Christmas special was so good, and it's got me more pumped for BatCat, and the fact that Clayman is back on the art, I'm pretty pumped for. If you have not seen already, Clayman does some amazing art, and I think that, you know, he's been doing a killer job on this, and Liam Sharp also did a very good job. I just think that the two styles were just a little bit too much of a change for me. If it was Liam from the start, I'd probably be saying the same thing if he returned to the book and Clayman took over halfway through, but that is the first book that I'm talking about. And for book number 2, we have Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. This is issue number 4. I've only read the first 2 issues of this. I just got number 3 in the mail. I'm going to probably sit down and hopefully be able to read it tonight, which was actually probably the night before when you're actually watching this, but I have been really enjoying this story. I think it's been fun so far. Her sister ends up calling her to help with a story, and yeah, I haven't really talked about it, but usually Hawkeye is one of the few characters in the Marvel world where I will get it, whether it be Kate Bishop or if it's Clint Barton. I love both of them. I think Clint Barton is a character that is so good in comics that sometimes people don't realize how like funny he can be. If you haven't actually read any Hawkeye, I highly recommend the Matt Fraction and David Aja run of Hawkeye. It is fantastic, and Kate Bishop actually comes around in that, and you see a relationship, and it is kind of what I think a lot of people think that the Disney Plus show has been based off of. So far, this has been pretty good for me. I've been enjoying it, and yeah, for a Marvel title, you know, I'm always probably going to grab Hawkeye. And now we're to the point of the show where we're going to get into all number 1. So this should be a good thing for people who are looking for something new to pick up. This is something that could be possibly good, you know, place for you if these books sound good. So the first one I'm going to start off with is Suicide Squad Blaze, book number 1. This is a DC Black Label book. It's got Harley Quinn, it's got Captain Boomerang, and it's got King Shark and Peacemaker. I think the team sounds pretty good. I noticed that if you read in Key Collector app, they do mention that there is 5 new criminals in this, so there might be some spec about this, but this is one of those prestige style format books from DC, which I personally am not a huge fan of. They're a little too big. They usually are a little bit harder for reading for me, and usually I try and pick these up in the collected form. I might, you know, try and flip through a copy of this at the shop and see, you know, depending. It seems like a pretty light week so far, so I might pick it up, but I might also wait for the collected because most of these do come in a pretty sweet hardcover collected form. The one thing though that is really selling me on this is Cy Spurrier is the writer, and he has done some very good stuff that I have enjoyed. If you read the book Alienated, it's a fantastic book he put out on Boom Studio, and I think he's one of those authors that, you know, has an opportunity to really, you know, showcase some talent. I'm usually into the idea of Suicide Squad, but I haven't really fully been compelled in a lot of the stories that I have read. Lately, I have not picked up the last 2 runs, which I think have been good, but more of a contained, smaller story like this usually will bring me in a little bit easier. Next up, we have Playthings number 1. This is a Black Caravan book, which is an imprint of Scout Comics, and it is their horror line. The one thing I will note here is that I have seen some very mismatched information when it comes to when Scout books come out and when they're listed on League of Comic Geeks. So this one may not actually come out for a few more weeks, but currently it's sitting there, and I really like it, and I think I'm going to read you the synopsis because I think that this is something that might kind of sell you. So to read it, it goes, Alison Hart wakes up inside a bright candy-colored room to discover that she is tied down with licorice. Small toys around her move because they're alive, and her hands are no longer real. She struggles to piece together the surreal and horrific events that led her to this place, and more importantly, what has happened to her young daughter, Emma. So I really don't know what's going on. This seems pretty scary. It seems kind of, as they mentioned, a horrific take. It's got a creepy little doll on the cover with a knife. You've got this pig there. Who knows what's going to happen? I think this sounds pretty interesting. I know horror seems to be all the rage, so this seems like a perfect little horror book if you're into stuff like Chucky and maybe, some things like that. I think this could be a very good one, and I highly recommend checking it out. But once again, I will know that when it comes to League of Comic Geeks, I have seen some very weird things with when Scout books actually come out. And if you get Lunar from your local comic shop, this will be out on Tuesday with DC stuff. And the final book, this is where I ask you, the watchers at home, do you think I should get this book? And that book is going to be TMNT Jenica, #1. This is the best of her stories. I have heard a lot of people do not like this character. And, I like it. I have a young daughter myself. So if there are characters that can bring her in and compel her to like them, I think this is a cool book that could happen. I have actually enjoyed some of these. I have bought the other ones, but I don't know much about Jenica. I just recently added Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to the pull list so I can hopefully start to read some stories as I'm trying to relive my childhood memories of, this awesome stuff. But that's why I'm asking you, do you think I should grab this Jenica book? I know there are a ton of Turtle fans out there. I am just a casual fan who really enjoyed them as a kid. I recently watched the first movie and I really sparked an interest again. So I'm asking, do you think the best of Jenica's stories are worth reading, or are you on the boat that Jenica is a pretty throwaway character? Either way, I'm not sure that my shop will have this because they haven't gotten all of these in the past. But if they do, I will probably grab a copy off the shelf and give it a read just to see what is Jenica all about. And those are the 5 books that I'm meaning to pick up this new comic book day, and I'm the most anticipated to maybe read, check open, and I sprinkled in some cover love and some spec choices for you. But let me know what you're looking to read, because that's one thing I love about this comic community is that we all get together, we all talk about what we're passionate about and what we enjoy reading. So once again, let me know, what are you most anticipated for? And if you haven't already, please leave a comment down below at the end of this video, and just let me know what you're looking forward to. If you think any of my choices were terrible, let me know. If you have some spec advice that you think would work, let me know that too. I just really want to, communicate more with members and let you know. And if you do enter and we get 15 comments, we will have a chance to, add an extra book to the set that will be given away at the end of the month. So make sure to do that. And also, if you haven't already, go back to the last week's issue and leave a comment there so you can get another entry in, because you'll have up to 4 entries at the end of the day. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. But as always, I've been Cole. These are my most anticipated comics, and thank you for listening to me talk about them. All right, peace. My most anticipated comics for February 9th, 2022.